Okay, we are ready to go.
All right. Welcome everyone to the Averill Park Central School District Board of Education meeting on this Monday, May 10th, 2021. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Okay, that moves us into item number 3, our superintendent's report.
Just want to make sure.
Good evening, everyone. And as Jesse said, we want to welcome Carrie Rocher, who is kind enough to join us. I told her we start at 6:30 every meeting, no matter what. No, I'm only kidding. She knew we were in executive session and might run long. So Carrie's on the agenda tonight, and you're aware from the board notes. She's going to be, with your approval, appointed to be the next principal at West Sand Lake. And we could not be happier to have her join us. We were very excited. So we'll welcome her, I guess, officially after we approve her. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, so the board report, we'll start there. As mentioned in a previous update, we had a little news coverage regarding an article that was done. It was sent to elected officials from the superintendents in the 4 BOCES region, including ours, obviously. And really the focus there and the advocacy right now for us is guidance regarding next year. All right, so we're looking for information about what it's going to look like, especially the in-person component for student learning. We have asked for that really by mid-May. We're kind of getting close to mid-May. We're hoping we get it sooner rather than later, as we are actively planning for next year. And that involves staffing and ordering of desks and supplies and all sorts of things. Want to give congratulations to Rob Messia and Josh Gala. They had an article published in this month's Principal Leadership. A great job to them for the work they're doing and promoting it and sharing it with their colleagues. Some exciting information going on in the vaccine world. As you know, we held a clinic at the high school on April 30th, and we are in the process now of planning one for students as young as 12, if and when it is approved for this age group. As of this afternoon, we did a survey. We're up to 288 people who are interested in getting the vaccine, which is fantastic. It is much higher than we thought. We are pleasantly surprised about that number, and really want to thank Young's Pharmacy. They've been a tremendous partner during this and have been very willing and helpful. And of course, thanks to our nurses too. Val was at the last clinic and helping to make sure everything went smoothly and safely. So we'll keep you updated there. We had another really great month of communication, and I usually kind of share that one with you. You've seen it, but just for folks to see, our numbers are just through the roof again, the work that Brian is doing. And, we've talked about this in the past. We kind of randomly picked these districts, and you can see where we stand in comparison. Neighbors, suburbans, urbans, all sorts of kind of samples out there. And then this gives you information about what's being viewed and clicked on. Again, very happy and very proud of the work that we're doing in our social media. And as Michael mentioned at the last meeting, we're looking to increase Brian from 3 days to 4 days. He's a Questar employee, so we only pay for his number of days in the district, do not pay benefits for him. But we're looking to expand his role even more, talking about management of the website, getting more to the video aspect. He's kind of a master at those, and really we found those to be effective in our communication with our parents and our kids. So we're excited for that possibility, and really thank Brian for the work he's doing. As you know, June is a 10-year appointment month. Those recommendations are now in the board portal, the files. So you have them for your review. They'll be on the June meeting, but we wanted to make sure we gave them to you well in advance so you had a chance to take a look at them. And then last but not least, really wanted to give a shout out to our high school and the success that they're having. We've talked about our students who are struggling throughout the year. Us, like every other district, is finding this. And you can really see some improvements being made in the number of students that are passing courses and the decreased number of students who are failing the metrics that we're using there. And this has been the result of a lot of hard work, and we want to thank the high school administration and certainly the high school faculty. They have, as Heath has said, thrown many darts at the board, right? They've tried 100 different things and really have tried to push the envelope on this one, and been very active and proactive, and we really thank them for the work they're doing and the difference it's making for our students. And we'll continue to monitor that data closely and hope to see continued improvement. So there's our superintendent's report. We'll go right to our video. So once again, thanks to Brian for a great job with our video. And with that, concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Always a lot of stuff going on. Glad to see it. On to item number 4, the public comment. Community members seeking to provide questions or comments to the board should email them to the district clerk. So please see the link on our agenda to do that. Item number 5, the consent agenda. To move to approve the consent agenda as listed on items A through D. Megan, Anne, do I have discussion? Go ahead, Anne.
Unmute here quick, sorry about that. In item B3, Michael, could you identify what these A amounts are, the breakdown of the increase to the general fund budget, what those codes stand for? The A2110, et cetera.
You're on mute, Michael. If you're talking,
Nice.
I can't tell.
Your lips are moving. Still on mute.
If you need a
So-
minute.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay.
So that's the grant. So we received, it was like the first, we'll call it the first stimulus, CARES Act that was given out last year when we were building our budget. And what happened was, if you were to look at our aid from last year, you'll see that the state aid got cut. So the state, this was like one of these gap elimination deals where the state created, has their gap last year when they're building the budget, 2021 budget. So the current year. And they cut our state aid by $163,000, and then they backfilled it. So the state saved money, but they backfilled it with the federal funds. So those are the salary codes that we created for to spend that money. So we had to create separate codes to account for the funds. And we actually, because it's a grant from the state of the federal money, we're basically increasing our budget by that amount. So that has to be approved by the board. So that's all of that. That's what that information is.
No, I understand that. What I'm asking is, what does A 211015000030 for 115?
That's a salary code. 150. So the 2110 is the instructional, general instructional. 150 is a salary code, and 30 is just the identifier we're using for the grant. So that's a grant identifier. 2110, again, it's a regular general ed. 450 is a supply code. And so we're doing it's general supplies, and then the other 450 is some kind of there's two different supply type things that they're purchasing. I'd have to get the details, but that's basically just the grant codes we're using. 450 is a supply code.
Okay, so we have the big one is salaries and the
Yep.
two smaller ones are supply codes.
Yep.
That's what I was wondering. Thank you.
I have a couple of things. I wanted to thank the family of James Markham and Bob Puppy for their additions of the scholarships to our seniors. I think that's lovely. And I also want to recognize, we have several people retiring: Frederick Corey, Brian Dunson, Carol Lopez, and Mary Paris. They represent a number of years with the district, and I just want to thank them all for their service to the district and wish them well and the best of luck in their retirement. Does anyone have any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
I
Okay, passes unanimously. Okay. Brings us to item number six, the West Sand Lake Elementary resolutions, and item number six, I don't know why I can't say six tonight, is just the resolution for what's going to happen with the rest of the school year at West Sand Lake Elementary. Do I have a motion to approve that resolution? Anne, seconded by Doug. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Oh, go ahead, Anne.
I just want to be clear that I was reading the materials correctly. This is for the network printers that were listed on the appendix. Yes?
No,
Okay. I see.
No, this is for the West Sand Lake Elementary kind of plan for the remaining of the school year, where we, at the end of May, Christine is going to move back to her position at the high school, and Kate Dorgan is going to fulfill that role for the remainder of the year to carry on boards.
But it's saying lease purchase financing, or am I looking at the wrong?
The agenda was updated.
I apologize. So
That's okay. Linda sent a link earlier today.
I do remember seeing that as well. I
Okay.
just have it numbered differently. I'm sorry.
Yep. No problem. So do you have any questions on that plan? Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approved unanimously. Item number 7 is a resolution that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board hereby appoints Carrie Rocher to the probationary appointment as an elementary principal assigned to West Sand Lake. Do I have a motion? Doug, thank you. Seconded by Ann. Discussion.
I would just like to say that I've worked with Carrie in the past, and to have her join our team at Havel Park School District is a wonderful addition. She's a wonderful person. She's a leader and totally professional. I am so happy that we are getting her into the district to help our children. And thank you, Carrie, for coming on board with us. You'll love it.
Great. Thanks, Doug.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Okay, then we'll move it to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Welcome, Carrie, officially. Do you want to take a minute and introduce yourself? Do you mind? Sort of. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Jessica, and thank you, Doug, for those kind words. Thank you so much to the board. I'm thrilled and honored to join the West Sand Lake community and the Averill Park School District. The process was really just so wonderful to meet people and learn about the wonderful programs, and the teachers and staff and families had nothing but wonderful things to say about West Sand Lake and Averill Park, and couldn't be more excited to join the team and lead the building forward, as we have a lot of things to look forward to, and hopefully with coming back from the pandemic and as we slowly reintroduce back to normalcy. I'm looking forward to helping with that and leading the curriculum initiatives and character education programs that are so strong, and helping all the kids and teachers to succeed. So thank you all, and to the administration and the committee. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much. We're glad to hear it. Anyone have anything else? Okay.
Just real quickly, Jesse, as I said, we're really excited to have Carrie join us. And thanks to Kim for running the process again. We've been really trying to make sure we have a open and transparent process. We want to make sure that the people that are most intimately involved in the success of the building are involved in the process. And we've done that now in multiple opportunities, at the high school with Heath, and at Post and Kill with Josh. And this was another example that we're really fortunate that the process was able to be structured the way it was, and the involvement of the faculty and the staff there, our administrators, our supervisors, and thank Kim for overseeing that, and for the board and their participation in their role as well. Really, we're so excited to have Carrie for 1,000 reasons, but she really brings with her a ton of instructional leadership at the K-5 level, especially in English and in literacy, and the whole ELA area for us, which is vital. It's vitally important, and we're just excited with her background. She's got building experience. She's got the K-5 elementary ELA experience, and it's just, I think in our minds, literally a perfect fit for us. So we're really, really excited to have her join us. So.
Excellent.
And Carrie, you can leave as soon as you're done with this now. You're not
That's right. You are more than welcome.
Thank you all.
All right.
Have a great night, Carrie.
You too.
Okay. That leads us to item number 8, the resolution for the board to enter into a contract with the BOCES or Questar 3 for the lease purchase finance of the capital equipment described in Schedule A. Do I have a motion? Megan, seconded by Ann. Discussion? And did you have any questions on this?
Heard it when I asked it at the wrong time.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Hearing none, I will bring it to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, onto item number 9. Is a resolution to address the need for action to mitigate the existing PFOA contaminants to provide clean water throughout the middle school, including the kitchen and the service areas. Do I have a motion? Megan, seconded by Doug. Discussion? Okay, hearing none, call it to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Okay, which brings us to item number 10, which is the resolution to approve the secret for the water project at Algonquin. Megan, seconded by Doug. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously.
I'm sorry, I just had one question.
Okay, go ahead.
What's the time frame on completion of this? Will this be done by September?
I think that's doubtful. Boy, I would love to. I can't say, I can't say for sure that that's no. We really would like to. I mean, I think the getting the Department of Health approval, if we can get that pretty quick, and some of this depends. Here's what we ran into, and I would go right out because we don't have to go through some of the formalities of the competitive bidding process. We may still want to do some of that, or that whole process. I think the biggest problem, Doug, and this is what we ran into with the weight room, is the mechanical equipment. Is the lead time is unbelievable. We were just getting some HVAC stuff, and that took months. So there's a lot of issues with supply chain just because of the whole COVID situation of getting mechanical systems. So I guess it will depend on that. So I'll ask our engineer and the consultant that we use on this what they're thinking, if these are things that, and I'll give you some more information for the next board meeting, and hopefully we'll have an update on, because this is allowing us, we just got we have it designed. We have the system designed. We got that actually today. And we have the submittal to Department of Health for their approval. So that we'll see how long that takes, but I'll try to get some updated potential timelines. It would be great if it could be done in the summer, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope for that. So I think we're going to be doing the bottled water thing for a little bit. It's just that challenge of the mechanical systems. So,
I understand. Thank you, Mike.
yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, well, we guess we already voted, so
Oops, yeah,
that's okay.
out of order.
All right, it was good for further understanding though. Brings us to item number 11, the policy review of policy 4531, the second reading of the field trips and excursions. There was a limited number of people at the last board meeting when we reviewed this policy. The people present seemed to be in general okay with the revisions that had been made. But I wanted to offer another opportunity for people to comment, ask questions, or provide any other information or thoughts they might have. Or not.
Well, this is one we've talked about so much, so many times. So if we have more, it's kind of a shame.
Yes, we have talked about it a lot, and people seem to be originally sort of all over the map. And so, which is why we brought it forward out of the out of the 4,000 series to approve it sooner than the rest of the batch, if you will. So we wanted to make sure that.
I think that part of the reason why people seem to be all over the map is because from an individual perspective, I feel pretty comfortable saying that everybody on an individual perspective feels strongly about the students having the opportunities to, have these experiences, but from a board perspective and the liability perspective as it extends to the district, those two philosophies don't always fall in line. And so we want to always kind of tread lightly about, where we exert, policy versus, personal feelings. So I think that's probably why we're all over the map sometimes on this particular issue, because we're all, deep down conflicted about making sure that the students have the best opportunities.
Absolutely. I would agree with that. And I think this last year plus really brought those concerns from a board member's perspective into a brighter light, I should say. So. Yeah, Peter.
If there are no objections then to this, can I suggest that we move it to a vote to accept it?
Absolutely. So you're making a motion to accept it as written.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Going once. Okay, hearing none, then I will call it to a vote. All those in favor of approving the policy?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it passes unanimously. Thank you, Peter. Okay. That'll be helpful for the future, for sure. Okay, on to item number 12, the budget hearing presentation.
All right, thank you. So we're gonna hop right into that. Hopefully you can see my screen. Our budget hearing presentation. Oh, hold on a second, I apologize. Oh. Okay, sorry. All right, so as we start off with our budget hearing presentation, we always like to reference our goals and mission statement, which you're aware of, and hopefully our community is as well too. Graduate our students college and career ready, productively engage them in their school community, and the newest goal, which is for our students to be digitally fluent as we move forward. Let's talk about the numbers as we went through this process. The teacher retirement system contribution rate had a slight increase. You can see the percentage amount, but also the impact of about $13,000. Overall, it's a relatively small impact, and it's something we're always keeping an eye on. The fluctuations in that TRS contribution rate really have a very significant impact on the district. So this year, we feel like we got off relatively easily with only a $13,000 increase there. Also, as we've talked about, our health insurance premiums were very low based on the rating in the pandemic. We were able to keep that in check as well. And as Michael has said multiple times, the issue for us as we built this budget was more on the revenue side and less on the expenditure side, largely because of numbers like that. We now have our final state aid amount. We see an increase in foundation aid of about $337,000. So that's our year-to-year increase on the foundation side. Our tax cap maximum, as you know, was 1.9%. That 1.9, if we went to the cap, would bring us in revenue of a little over $600,000. When we talked about this way back when, the board, I think rightfully and very astutely asked to see what the tax cap would look like at different numbers. And we provided this information. If we went to 1% or 0, and that gave you the corresponding revenue amount that went with that percentage increase. And then through the process, we settled on going at half of the tax cap with a 0.95. It's obviously below the maximum of 1.9. The budget to budget increase this year, less than 1% at 0.75. So we're able to keep our expenses relatively low, all things considered, because of our mandatory required increases, contractually, insurance, all that stuff. A budget to budget increase of 0.75. We were pretty satisfied with overall, given everything that was going on around us. So as we built this, we've kind of used these principles, our goals and our mission statement in combination with these principles here to make sure our budget is the financial representation of our academic program, make sure we have a match there, that we use our goals to drive how we utilize our very limited resources, both human and financial, that data is the key element as we guide our decisions, and that we're actually using the data we have, which we've been increasing, to make the decisions. And then, of course, where possible, to reduce the attrition where we can. These numbers are the most up to date. It's kind of a little bit of a moving target. We feel like we're pretty locked in now. But the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriation Act brought us about $2.6 million. Put in there the caveat of when it's got to be spent. We have some time to spend it. It's got to be spent over multiple years. It's got to be spent in this case by September of 2023. And then about $2 million in American Rescue Plan money, and that must be spent by September of 2024. Those numbers are slightly different than what you've seen before. We got updated numbers last week, and that we believe is what we will be getting now. So as we look through this budget, we're looking to reduce the faculty by a total of 2.4. We've talked about these positions. The English and the music will be at the high school, and we're going to be able to deliver the programmatic options that we've been delivering to our students with still having this reduced enrollment. So we're trying to make sure that we are keeping our footprint in line with our offerings and our decreasing enrollment. We also have talked about, if you remember, originally we had 4.0 intervention specialists that we were reducing. We had one coming back through a enrollment-based increase, which was at 3.0. You're going to see later on, we're going to be bringing people back as a result of the increase in the stimulus funds. But in the end, the bottom line is we'll be reducing AIS/intervention specialists. We kind of grouped them together for this purpose of a 1.0 reduction. We still are looking to reduce our support staff by 2.0. That's a monitor and an aide that we added as part of our ramping up staffing to get us through this year for the pandemic. We believe we can make it through without those two spots that are expiring. So what are we spending our money on, especially that stimulus money? Our first thought and our first priority is to maintain the academic progress we did make, really trying to choose our words carefully, right? The words we've been using are learning loss, and there's a lot of information coming out now about not using those words because it kind of decreases the value of what did happen this year and then the positives that did happen and learning that did occur. So really we're viewing it a little bit of a different term and making sure we approach this from the right point of view, and we really want to maintain our academic progress. A big part of that will be our summer program. We are in the midst of developing a pretty robust K-12 program. This is large for us. We typically only offer that credit recovery at the high school, and we have our special education summer school. So this is a pretty large endeavor. It's going to be K-12. We're looking at about 10% of our student body potentially being involved in this program. It's going to involve transportation. It's going to involve quite an effort, and we're really happy and proud of the way it's going right now as we design it and build it. And we think the end product is going to be something that the board will very much think is well worth the expenditure and the time. If all goes as planned, Matt's going to provide an update for you at the June meeting about what the summer is going to look like. So we'll hold him to that. In terms of addressing that learning loss, as we said, really maintaining our academic progress, we are going to reinstate with the elementary school 3 AIS teachers, and we are going to increase middle school AIS with 2.0. Really important to note that the middle school now next year, doesn't seem like this, and every time I say it out loud, it still doesn't make sense to me, but 2/3 of the middle school next year will be kids that were directly impacted by the pandemic. Kind of feels like it was just yesterday, right? But it's 2 years worth of students. So we're looking to increase that. And we'll talk a little bit about this in the presentation, but we want to make sure we're avoiding a funding cliff. And we've been very, very, very thoughtful in terms of the spots we're bringing back. And that as this money goes away, which it will go away, it will be exhausted. It's just stimulus money. It's not reoccurring. That we need to make sure the spots that we add have a landing spot to go to. And we believe through upcoming future retirements, these positions will be in a perfect world. We get highly qualified candidates that come in and do a great job, and they transition into general fund expenditures because they take positions that will be vacant with retirements. So we're expanding our footprint due to the federal money, but we'll be able to right size that, we believe, if done properly, without having to lay people off or put ourselves in a budgetary crunch that we don't want to be in. Part of that is also to address the social emotional well-being of our students. And really what we're looking to do here is add a social worker and a school psychologist. This plan has been developed with some of our folks who are really intimately involved in this, like Camille Harrelson and Becky Leach, our assistant principal at the high school, are very well, they very much have their finger on the pulse of how our support services are functioning. And this plan, again, like the last slide, we have upcoming retirements, we believe, in these two areas. So we can bring people on and then they'll transition into roles as people retire. It also enables us to do something that you normally don't get to do in education, and that's have some form of a succession plan. So we have, one social worker in the district, and she's fantastic, has been with us for a while. But in a perfect world, you have a transition between when that person leaves and the new person comes on. This will enable us to do that. Same thing with the school psych. So we'll be able to staff up and then right size as the funding sort of goes away. We have talked a lot about our DLT, our district learning team, and the structure. Excuse me. And what we're looking to do is reinstate the funding to approximately the same level as 2021. So we talked in the previous presentations about decreasing this. We've had a lot of conversations and a lot of meetings with the leadership of the association and with the members of the DLT and with our administrative team. And we really want to make this something that is positive and productive and really is the backbone of our educational program. And we feel like we have a pretty good outline. We are actually meeting tomorrow morning with some folks on the APTA side to work through this. And it's my hope that will be coming to you at the June meeting with an MOA to adjust some of the language in the contract and create a more robust, more effective, more efficient structure, and one that will not, it'll be on parallel with the spending that we have right now. So you won't see an increase or decrease. It's an increase because we said we were going to reduce it in previous budget presentations, but from year to year, it'll be approximately the same. We have some miscellaneous expenses. And again, this is where the federal funds can be used, and we're kind of targeting these areas. Excuse me, professional development, obviously a key area. When you look at the work that's being done on the research side of things and what really contributes to effective learning and effective gains in the classroom, one of the key things that often gets overlooked is professional development and building the capacity of your faculty. So we have some plans there to use some of the funds to develop our faculty further, whether it be with social emotional education for their students and preparing them to be able to better meet the needs of our kids in that area, whether it's through some of the literacy-based stuff that we're doing and bringing in people to do PD in that area. But we certainly plan on spending some worthwhile funds to increase the capacity of our faculty. We're also looking to use some money on technology. Again, these are areas that are part of the funding. From the hardware side, it's stuff like classroom displays and updating the stuff that we have in classrooms and using that money wisely there. And from a software point of view, it's really focusing on software that will help us in terms of measuring student learning and diagnostic type testing, all those type of things that we can do to make sure our students are gaining. And as we provide those interventions, that they're making improvements or if they're not making improvements, where they're falling short so that we can readjust the instruction that we're delivering. We also have two lines on the presentation here you see that really involve the kind of the financial side. The maintenance of the physical plant, is a budget line allocation that will go towards essentially emergency repairs. As we know, the capital project was voted down, unfortunately, leaving us with a situation where we just don't know what to expect in terms of roof failures or those type of things. So we have a line in there to handle that. We are planning to do the capital project, as you know, to be revoted in the fall. If that goes through, then we'll be able to move this money into debt service and still use it to help with that aspect. And then we want to reduce our reliance on our reserves. And again, these are one-shot money is coming in, and we're using money out of reserves as it is. And we know that if we keep up with that pace, eventually that money dries up. So we want to use some of this to make sure we're reducing our reliance on those reserves from a year-to-year basis. A big thing that has been at the forefront is preparation for the financial cliff. You'll see a lot and hear a lot about that if you're reading stories on this stuff. And for us, as we've mentioned already, we want to add positions that can be eventually absorbed easily into our general fund budget. We don't want a situation where we staff up, money dries up, and then we have multiple faculty members that we hire and hopefully are doing a great job. And we have to tell them, hey, listen, we don't have a spot for you here that we can't afford you. So we're trying to do this very purposefully and very deliberately so that spots we add can be absorbed quickly into the budget and easily into the budget in positions and areas that we will have openings. There are still uncertainties, and we talk about this all the time. As Michael always says, the budget is about as accurate as it can be until the next day, right? And then it becomes out of date, so to speak. So these are some of the uncertainties that we are still certainly struggling with. The requirements for 21-22, we don't have that information. I mentioned that in the board report in terms of the advocacy work that we're doing. We don't know if we're going to have virtual or not virtual, or what type of instruction that's going to look like. Number of kids will be eligible, options, all those type of things. We just don't know. And that affects very directly staffing, affects very directly rooms. So we just don't know what that's going to look like. Part of the issue that we're dealing with right now is the distancing aspect, right? Will it be 6 feet in the cafeteria or 3 feet? Will it be 3 feet in rooms? Will it be less than 3 feet? We don't know that. And that has a very real impact on the number of kids we can bring back. And not only if we can bring them back, but how we make sure we're bringing them back with the proper equipment. And by that, I don't mean PPE necessarily, but physical stuff like desks, right? We've moved here, like in most places, to more tables, especially in the K-5 area. And the tables do not allow us to bring as many kids into a room as desks do. So we need to purchase desks, and our administrative team is doing a lot of work in laying out plans of what rooms look like and how many students they can get into a room based on the guidance that we might get. And we know at this point we're going to need to order desks, and we know it's going to be in the hundreds of desks, probably approaching 1,000 by the time we're done, potentially, depending on how this all shakes out. So that's some real money, but that's going to impact what we can and can't do. So we need to make sure that we're getting the guidance and reacting to it. And then the federal stimulus money, literally, this is a memo that came out this afternoon that I was reading when I got home. I was waiting for the board meeting to start, which was just more details about the federal money. So when I say the details are still coming out to the minute, it's literally, I read that 5 minutes before the meeting started tonight. So we are still getting details about what we can and cannot spend the money on. So we're working through those and making sure that we're following all the rules in terms of what can it be spent on, how long we have, et cetera. The vote has some obviously other aspects to it. In this case, the bus and equipment proposition. You can see there that this is purchasing nine buses, part of our long-term bus replacement plan. We have 9 buses in the proposition right now, broken down there, as well as 1 rack and plow truck. The total cost is not to exceed $834,474. Important to remember, the district receives about 72% state aid on those purchases. Also, we'll be trading in 8 buses, totaling a little over $17,000. And that slide gives you the average mileage of the buses that will be trading in. And then the vote itself, Tuesday, May 18th, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. It'll be in the high school in the auxiliary gym. And we want to encourage our community to come out and vote and to take part in the process. That concludes the hearing presentation. If there's any questions.
Hi, Jim. Quick question. So the memos that are coming out on the federal money, are we seeing situations where they're saying originally you could use it on certain things and now they're changing their mind? Or is it like how are these modifications affecting how we move forward and plan?
Yeah, I don't think, and Michael and Matt are part of it too. So correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we're seeing anything change in terms of they said you could do this and now they're saying you can't do it. You can only do that. It's just getting more specific and more narrow in terms of defining it, right? So originally kind of came out and there's these giant pots of money and then they said you'll be able to spend on things like this. And there's kind of bullet pointed lists. And now we're actually starting to see what percentage of what money can go towards what things. So they're just getting it to be more specific from our understanding. We have a webinar today, Monday, I think it's Wednesday or Thursday is the webinar I just signed up for at NISCUS. Again, so information is just kind of continuing out, but I don't think it's contradictory or I don't think they're moving the ball. I think they're just defining a little more clearly what the rules are. Which is good and which is what we want. I think we talked about it earlier.
Well, right, we have to know. We have to know for the planning purposes, as we start to have these ideas, we need to know if they fit into their framework.
And I think something we've done well here is kind of taking our time on these things. I think sometimes people try and put themselves, they go about 100 miles an hour when the guidance is coming in at 30 miles an hour. So I think we've been very good at not doing that. I know when the very first things kind of came out, remember we sat in cabinet and talked about it and we're kind of like, okay, general plan, general thoughts, what can we do? Start big, narrow, small. And that's what we did. And now we're getting more specifics and everything we're getting is in line with kind of what we were thinking and the direction we're sort of headed. So. Any other thoughts or questions?
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who worked on this because it certainly was a moving target like you had mentioned, and to keep up with this and keep refining and organizing your plan and replan to make it all happen, even for just this moment of time when it's accurate. I think it's a job well done, and we certainly appreciate all your hard work and good thought to make it the best we can for our students and the community as a whole.
Well, thanks, Jesse. And I think it's really important. Sometimes when you go through things, you have to reflect a little bit. And my last conversation before tonight with Carrie, talking about her joining the district, and you're talking to someone who you want to join the district and she wanted to join. And it makes it a lot easier when you can say things to her and you're being honest about the quality of the people that we have right now and the work that they're doing. And, I said to her, something you're going to really find is there's zero territorial infighting. There's zero, not playing nice in the sandbox type stuff. I mean, it's really a lot of collaboration and people sharing information and working together and talking through things. And we were just, the work that the administrative team has done on this, from the people on this call, like Michael and Matt and Kim, and our members of the APA and the administrative staff and our supervisors. It's a great environment right now where people really are student-centered and really trying to work together and do the right thing. And that's great. So we're very fortunate, and makes it easy to tell someone you want them to join the district and you're not feeling like you're, lying to them. You really feel passionately about what you're saying to them because things are in a good spot and going well. And the board has been extremely supportive in that too, and, have a role in that. So we thank you for that.
Does anybody have any other thoughts, comments, questions? Does anybody from the administrative team want to add anything? Okay, then, thank you very much. I guess that brings us to item number 13, the board member reports. Lauren, do you want to start? Do you have anything tonight?
I just want to say congrats to Carrie. I know she left, but I just want to say congrats to her. That's really exciting. And yeah, this was really good to sit and listen to. So thank you.
Good, thank you, Lauren. Doug, do you want to go next?
Sure, I'll go. First of all, I want to thank leadership team for the data that was presented earlier during the superintendent's report, Jim, for the struggling students. I'd like to keep track of that. And I'd like a more in-depth report at some point in terms of what skills were observed as lacking or falling behind, students falling behind with certain skills. What were some of maybe the mental health issues that teachers might be confronting as a result of the pandemic? And also, I understand that that's a high school information we were given tonight. Could we include Algonquin next time in that? I know teachers are spending time after school, considerable amount of time after school with students that are struggling right now, and bringing them back up to speed. And I want to commend you for the summer school that you're anticipating, a very aggressive summer school with 10% of the students. I hope some of those students that are struggling right now, staying after school and working with the teachers, are the ones that populate the summer school program as well. I think that adding a social worker and a school psychologist is a good move for next year, and I think it plays into the need to help our struggling students. What I'm afraid of is that we may not see the impact of the pandemic with our struggling students, perhaps for another year or more. If those students continue to fall behind or having difficulties in school for the coming year, we may not see the real problems emerge for another year or two. And we can prevent that by being aggressive in terms of helping those students who we see are having trouble. And that's my interest, and I would appreciate you continuing giving us information on that extra help program and what's happening with those struggling students. And it's much appreciated. In depth in terms of the skills that are being focused on by the teachers, I think would be very helpful for us and parents to understand about where their students are having difficulties. Again, thank you for that information, and I look forward to more reports.
Absolutely. Thank you. Those are good points. Thank you.
That's my report.
Thank you, Doug. That was appreciated. Megan?
Thanks, Jesse. A couple of things. Kind of echoing Doug's sentiment about our students. I appreciate the information in that report. I know our third quarter grades came out, and I wanted to recognize, obviously, the students that maintain the high honor roll, but also there are definitely students on those honor rolls and merit rolls who maybe struggled, and maybe this is their first time on the honor roll. And so that's a huge achievement as well. Or maybe you didn't quite make it, but you're still trying. And so you should keep trying, because we're fighting for you and we're rooting for you. I want to thank Mrs. Main for her leadership at West Sand Lake while we were in this interim process. I am really happy that she's going to be going back to the high school. I know there's got to be some students who are going to be very pleased to have her back in the high school building, and she's a great asset to the district. So welcome, Terry, and also thank you, Christina. I really enjoyed it. It was another great podcast. Love the podcast. I love it. I can't get enough of it. I really enjoy hearing the students' perspectives to get their different points of view, the different topics, the interaction. There's some banter, and it's just really, really great. I hope you never stop doing that. I think it's great, and I can't wait for the next one. And looking forward to the spring production for OBP. It's coming up this week. Please no rain. Please no rain. Just wanted to point out to some folks, if they didn't know, if you're watching this and you have time, you can register a family member where you can go into your family ID and register a family member that's not in your household. So I went in and registered family members from different households so that they'll get the link and be able to watch it live. They don't live in the same house. So they'll each get their own link individually. And I think it's like $5 for the link. So you can pay for them to get the link, and then each family member from wherever they are can watch this wonderful production. I know the kids have put a lot of time and effort into it, and I can't wait. I'm super excited. So I appreciate the budget report. I hope that the community feels good about the work that we're doing for the kids here. I know I do. So thank you for all of your hard work on that as well. And I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Megan. Anne?
I guess I just want to say, I hope the community comes out and votes next Tuesday at the high school. I think the time is like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. or something like that. But I hope before you come that you take the time to sign up to help raise money for the music department and sign up for the chicken barbecue. For me, it's ideal because it's delicious, and it's one less thing I have to do is make dinner. So it's a win-win on both sides. So I also encourage our community members. There's a lot of in addition to the spring production, there's a lot of things coming up this month as well as next month. So I encourage everyone to keep an eye on the website and or social media or wherever you get your district news, because it seems like there's something going on every day that's worthwhile to check out. So just a shout out for the website and, Facebook or Twitter, or however you stay informed, and sign up for that barbecue. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne. Yep, that barbecue is good. Okay, Peter?
I'm there for the barbecue for sure. Jim, if you want any support presenting the budget anywhere, give me a shout. I'd be happy to join you. And just a shout out to the community. I think this is a really good budget that we put together under these trying conditions, and I encourage everybody to come out and vote. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. I'll be quick, not to echo any, I agree with my colleagues here on the board, but I too really enjoy the podcast. I think they're fun and fun to listen to for sure. And everyone, please do get out and vote next Tuesday, May 18th. It's coming very fast. And there is information on our website if you need an absentee ballot, and they need to go out 5 days in advance. So I think you have to request, is it 5 days? I believe you have to request them very soon to be able to do that. But there's a phone number that you can request the absentee ballots from, and they get to you pretty soon after you request them. So, all right, just don't forget to vote. And I think that ends my report. Okay, I think that is it for this evening. Does anybody have anything in addition? Yes, Megan.
I just want to say that I agree with Anne about all of there being so many great things going on in the next couple of months. And if we talked about all of them, we'd be here all night. And with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you, Megan, for that motion. Peter, you get the second. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone. I hope